What's up, YouTube? I am back with another one. It is the 1 year anniversary today of Deadpool and Wolverine. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a pretty good movie. I was so tempted to watch it just now, but I'm doing rewatches. So right now I'm on the Daredevil rewatch. So I'm on Daredevil season 3 right now. And then I'm not going to go into the whole explaining, but I got the Daredevil series to watch and Punisher, then Spider-Man, and then the X-Men. So that's when I'll finally get to watch Deadpool and Wolverine. If you want that experience to be good, you wait. That's why I have not watched anything Thunderbolts related, so that whenever I get it and watch it, it's going to hit hard, and I'm going to love it even more. But in honor of Deadpool and Wolverine being 1 year old today, I am going to rank all 36 movies in the MCU. In fact, I already have. I'm just going to explain their ranking and where and why they are where they are. So I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best. 36 MCU movies. 36 MCU movies ranked. Infinity Saga and Multiverse Saga, basically. So, at 36 is Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, I don't really like Thor Love and Thunder. I was really hyped about it. If there's some positive things I can say about it, I like the first 20-30 minutes that the Guardians of the Galaxy are there. That's pretty cool. I like it when the Guardians are there. That's pretty cool. I just don't like this movie. It's just too many things wrong with it. Makes me cringe, gives me a headache, really frustrates me. It makes me really angry. Because if this is the last Thor movie that we're gonna get, Thor is an OG Avenger. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm like a diehard Thor fan, but I love the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I love everybody in the MCU, except for maybe Miss Marvel. But yeah, Thor. He's an OG Avenger. If that is the last Thor movie that Thor is gonna get, you fumbled that hard. Cause what the fuck? Like that's gonna be Thor's last movie? Oh my god. Imagine if they did that to Iron Man. Some people would say that they did that to Iron Man. Some people don't like Iron Man 3. I think it's okay, but we'll get to that. But yeah, Thor Love and Thunder, I really don't like it. I like Gore the God Butcher, but, I mean, Christian Bale did a good job with what he had to work with, and what he had to work with was not much. Because he's called Gore the God Butcher. Didn't butcher any gods, except for one at the very beginning of the movie, and that was in defense. Anything else we saw, like on a camera, that he has already done. And they went to Omnipotent City where there's a whole bunch of gods. That could have been like, I don't know, Gore's plan to be like, oh, they're going to be asking for help. So they're going to go to, maybe he's like eavesdropping them or something. Like, I don't know, being a shadow or something. And he was eavesdropping on them and they said they were going to go to Omnipotent City. So he lured them there. And while as they were going to Omnipotent City, he followed. And that's a whole place where he can kill gods. There could have been a massacre there. And they were all bleeding gold anyway, so you wouldn't have to worry about your movie being rated R. Gore the God Butcher could have massacred every god in there, and the blood would be gold, so you'd be okay. 35. The Marvels. If I was doing TV shows in here, the Marvels would probably go below Thor: Love and Thunder, if I'm being honest, because I liked the first episode of Miss Marvel. Everything else just went downhill super, super quick, and I just found myself not enjoying the show each episode. And then I tried to rewatch Miss Marvel 2 times, and the last time that I watched it, that was the last time. I don't know what you're gonna have to make me do to watch Miss Marvel, but I mean, I'm the biggest and diehard MCU fan, and Miss Marvel is the only one that I skip, and that says a lot. I'll watch She-Hulk. I'll watch Secret Invasion. I'll watch those. I'll even watch I Am Groot Season 1 and 2. But I will not watch Miss Marvel. I just won't. I won't. But the Marvels, 35. So, yeah, I mean, the Marvels, last time I watched it, I mean, it was alright. At first, I liked the beginning and the middle. Amon Vellani's in this movie as Miss Marvel, and I mean, she did a better job. That doesn't mean she wasn't still cringy. But she did a better job. She wasn't as cringy in this movie as she was in her show. I actually really liked Captain Marvel. I think she improved. I think she really improved her character in the Marvels. Which, surprisingly, Captain Marvel's higher than the Marvels. Well, that's because The Marvels isn't a very good movie. The Marvels makes Captain Marvel look like a good movie. And Captain Marvel's alright, but The Marvels, I mean, I guess for the connectivity stuff, it's pretty cool. Um, Nick Fury doesn't do much in the movie. He's in it, but I guess it's cool he's in there. I miss Nick Fury being in the MCU more often. 34. Thor: The Dark World. Thor: The Dark World. I don't think it's the worst MCU movie, clearly. Um, but it's not really good either. Loki's pretty much the only good parts about Thor: Love and Thunder. It's Loki. No matter what he's in, he could be in a trash movie like Thor: Love and Thunder, and he'd be the best part of it, and that is the case here. Malekith, forgettable. Plot, I guess, is kind of important, but they could have made it have more of a significance, because I bet you most people don't even know, unless you're a diehard Marvel fan, that the ether was in Thor: The Dark World. You know, most people probably wouldn't even know that. They're like, wait, that was an Infinity Stone? And then I don't even know how the ether got into Sif and Volstag's hands whenever that Dark Elf ship landed on Malekith, and he had the ether at the time. And that's the last we saw of the ether until the end credit scene when Sif and Volstagg brought the Reality Stone to the Collector. So how'd they get that? That was never explained. 33. The Incredible Hulk. I will say the action in the Incredible Hulk is super, super cool. I mean, it's brutal too. I'm surprised it got a PG-13 rating. Well, it's probably because they didn't go too violent, but they did. It's a pretty violent movie. I mean, especially with the Hulk and the Abomination. I mean, Hulk freaking kicks Blonsky into a fucking tree, and they show it. I mean, they don't show the kick, but they show the impact. You'll show the impact, but you won't show the kick. But yeah, most of the movie is kind of boring. Not gonna lie, it's kind of like, all right. He's running from the military, gets caught, he runs, he goes and finds Betty, they relax for a while, he gets information, the military finds him, he runs, except this time it's with Betty, not before he turns into Hulk, which is when it starts to get epic. And that university battle, and this Hulk in particular, is probably my favorite Hulk, if I'm being honest, because, I mean, the Mark Ruffalo 2012 Hulk was pretty good, too. That was a pretty good Hulk. But this one was just straight up savage. This is the closest we're ever going to get to a savage Hulk, and this is just the Hulk's first appearance. When are we going to get back to this Hulk? 32, Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I think, I think it's okay. I like the 90s nostalgia. One thing I will say that someone has said before, they said that the directors of Captain Marvel didn't know the MCU. And I guess that would be the case if What If Season 2 didn't save their asses. Because, but that's an alternate universe, but it's like a in-universe implication of what may have happened in 616. But the whole Tesseract thing kind of confused me at first when I first saw it. It's explained now. They explained it in What If Season 2 Episode 2, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's 80s Avengers. 80s Avengers, that's an awesome episode, by the way. But, I mean, I don't know. Captain Marvel, it's okay. When you watch the Marvels first, and then Captain Marvel, then you'll say it's a better movie. So, I mean, it's okay. It's alright. It's alright. 31, Captain America, Brave New World. There's a lot more in here that I like than I dislike, but there's some things that I dislike about this. What do I dislike about it? I don't know. It's I don't know. I just think maybe it's maybe a little bit underwhelming. It's not really a very surprising plot. It's just a movie that exists, I guess. But the Red Hulk stuff is pretty cool. I will say that. That's my favorite part. Like, I rewatch that Red Hulk scene pretty often because it's pretty epic. So yeah, but I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I like his white suit more than the suit he gets later. I don't like his suit that he gets later. I don't know. It's okay, but it doesn't look that good. But was this movie over the top amazing? No. Was it the worst thing ever? No. It was okay. It was okay. 30 Eternals. Um, it depends on what mood I'm in if I'm gonna watch Eternals. Because if I'm feeling Eternals, then it's a good movie. And it's like, hey, this is a pretty underrated movie. If I'm not in the mood to watch Eternals, because I don't know, Eternals is that type of movie where you gotta be in the mood for. Like, I guess the lore is pretty cool. The philosophical questions that they pose when it's like, a celestial being born out of the earth, and then everyone on Earth dies, but then whenever that celestial is born out of an Earth, more universes are born. So it's basically like it's like a metaphor for abortion. It's a metaphor for abortion. That's hard to say. But yeah, it basically is because the Eternals were like saying, well, we don't want everyone on Earth to die, but you're preventing all this other life from being formed because of this celestial emergence. I think that's what it's called, the emergence. Yeah. So it's kind of like a metaphor for abortion, and sometimes philosophical and moral debates, they really, really intrigue me. So it's a pretty interesting debate, and it's interesting to see how that goes about. I feel like this should have been a series, though. Everyone says that, but it's true. I feel like it would have been a lot better if it was a series. If Eternals was 9 episodes long, I'm pretty sure. Isn't there like 9 Eternals? You could like dedicate each episode to a character, but like still focusing on the main plot, but going and using flashbacks for each character to flesh them out. That would have been a whole lot better, if you ask me. 29, Iron Man 2. I would like to say that I do love all the Iron Man movies. Just because Iron Man 2 is at 29 does not mean that I hate it, because I love all the Iron Man movies. I love Iron Man 2. In fact, pretty much everything up from Eternals, I'd say that I like/love. Because Iron Man 2, Iron Man 2 is a pretty nostalgic movie to me. I would say that's around the time that I started getting into the MCU, because I didn't really know about Iron Man until it came out on DVD, and then The Incredible Hulk came out on DVD, but I just so happened to watch that movie at the babysitting place. I used to go to a house, and they would babysit us, and The Incredible Hulk just so happened to be playing on the TV, and I liked it. But then I found out that they're connected because of Tony Stark's cameo, and then Iron Man 2 came along, and I wanted to see that movie in theaters, but it was too late, so I watched it on DVD. Nostalgic movie, though. The trailers for me are really nostalgic. That's when I started getting into trailers and stuff and discovering trailers. So it's a pretty nostalgic movie for me. It does have a lot going on. I will say that. It does have a lot going on. But it's cool. And I like this. This is basically the start of Nick Fury's big week. And that's like, I don't know. It's just Phase 1 is so nostalgic for me. Does it have the best over-the-top crazy movies? No. But it's legendary, and it's awesome, because this is basically the start of everything. It's Phase 1. It's like baby MCU, but big baby MCU, because it's delivering some bangers. So yeah, Iron Man 2. I love Iron Man 2. I love Iron Man 2. I love Iron Man. I love Tony. I'll forever love Iron Man and Tony. They're the same person. 28. Thor. I'm actually really surprised that I love Thor more than Iron Man 2, because the last time that I watched Thor, and every time now that I watch Thor, it's not the most amazing movie, but what Kenneth Branagh has done with that movie, he set the tone right for Thor, and it's not like how Alan Taylor did with Thor the Dark World, where he literally made that kind of into Thor mixed with Game of Thrones, which I guess could be cool, but it could be dull if you don't watch Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I don't really vibe with the Game of Thrones vibe. But I like what Kenneth Branagh did with the first Thor movie. It was like a Shakespearean space opera that is going back and forth between space and Earth. And that's more normal, but it's like a fish out of the water type of story. But the more important stuff's going on in Asgard, but you're also getting character development from Thor. And I don't know, it's just the way he made this movie. I finally found out why he does Dutch angles. And this is why you gotta be listening to that commentary, people. You can be learning some stuff from these audio commentaries that they have, either online or on Blu-rays. He said in Thor The reason why he does so much Dutch angles is because that's how he's always imagined comics to be. So I'm like, you know what? I respect that now. I respect that. You know, if I didn't hear that, then I wouldn't have appreciated those Dutch angles as much now. Because now I'm like, I see what he's going for now. I get it. So yeah, Thor. It's a really good movie. Well, I'm not gonna say really good movie. I like it. I'm not gonna get too carried away. I'm like the biggest MCU fan, so you might hear me say I love most of these, probably, if I'm not being careful about what I say. 27, Black Widow. You'd be surprised that Black Widow is so high up here, but to me, I think it's a pretty damn good movie. I can't even say what problems I have with Black Widow. I wish maybe Red Guardian got his actual shield. I don't know. I don't know. There's the emotional beginning of Black Widow hits me really hard. Like, I'm not a victim of human trafficking, but I know how it feels like to be separated from your siblings, and that hits pretty hard. And the song they were playing, like that "Smells Like Teen Spirit" cover, I have it in my Spotify playlist. That song is actually really good. Some people say that song's ass. I don't know. I think it hits pretty hard. But yeah, some of the family dynamics and I don't know. It's just the action was pretty good. It's like a spy movie, a spy espionage thriller movie mixed with like a family dynamic movie, like a family reunion movie, and it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I don't really mind that Taskmaster is a woman. I mean, it is kind of a criticism because it's like, come on, dog. Like, come on. Why couldn't you just bring in the real Taskmaster? Because Taskmaster's pretty cool. And you had to make it that? It's like, hey, I mean, I guess it's a cool payoff to the Avengers when Loki mentioned Dreykov's daughter, but you couldn't have, like, made that a reveal somewhere else? I don't know that Dreykov's daughter was actually... I don't fucking know. It's not that. Just bring in the real Taskmaster. That's probably why they killed her off in Thunderbolts. Spoilers. Sorry. 26. Captain America, the First Avenger. I would say most of this movie I really, really like. I like history. I wouldn't say I love history. But I mean, I am intrigued by it, and I am, like, invested in it and fascinated by it. I used to be really into U.S. history, and, you know, Captain America the First Avenger takes place in World War II, so that's pretty interesting. That's a part of U.S. history. So, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty patriotic movie. I mean, when you watch it, Joe Johnson directed this movie, and then when you're watching the credits, it hits you hard. And, like, it really hits you just how, like, much Captain America the First Avenger is a really patriotic movie. Because the credits are all, like, American stuff and stuff like that, and, like, propaganda stuff. And the whole movie is about Captain America joining the army. So it's a pretty patriotic movie. And Steve Rogers' story, I don't know, he became one of my top 5 favorite characters. It used to be someone else. I think it used to be Thor. But I don't know, Captain America just has so much more story out of him to tell. And it's much more interesting in the character arc he goes on. It's interesting to see where he started and then where he ended in Endgame. It's just really interesting. So, and I like a detail that I think the director said in the audio commentary. He said, we got to make you fall in love with skinny Steve first before we make you fall in love with Captain America. And it's the same thing they did with Iron Man. Kevin Feige said, we got to make you fall in love with Tony Stark before we make you fall in love with Iron Man. And that's smart, because most people just want to see the superhero with the suit and ping, bang, 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 and save the day. And they find it dull or boring, or no, we don't want to see this. We want to see the suit. We want to see superheroes. It's like with Transformers. They said, we don't want to see humans. We want to see Transformers. But if you can make the human element interesting and lovable and likable, then you won't be getting or hearing much complaint when they're not in the suit. So, yeah, I really like Captain America the First Avenger. It feels rushed near the end, though. So, it's like, it took him a long time to get his shield and his suit, because by the time that happens, I'm pretty sure there's only like 40 minutes of the movie left, so you kind of like have to rush towards the end. Maybe giving it more time, or maybe didn't spend so much time on the factory breakout. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Captain America: The First Avenger, pretty good movie. 25, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I actually really enjoy this movie. I think it's pretty funny. There's some things that are wrong with it. But I have a fun time with it, and I think it's a pretty cool movie. I just like the journey of like how it all starts. Like first, it's them living a normal life, somewhat, a little bit of troublemaking. I don't understand why Cassie's so mad at Scott. It's like, geez, chill the hell out. Fuck. but, uh, but no. And then they go to their then they go down to the basement, and that's when the thing she sends the signal down to the quantum realm, and it sends them down to the quantum realm. It's just interesting how they go into the quantum realm, what happens there, and how they get out. And Kang is definitely a highlight. I don't understand why people said that the Kang storyline wasn't interesting. I was digging it because I don't know, the way Jonathan Majors was playing Kang, he was making me terrified. I was like, oh man, I don't want to mess with this guy. But I was more terrified of He Who Remains more than any of the other ones. My favorite Kang variant would probably have to be Victor Timely. I don't know, I just thought Victor Timely's awesome. I just love Victor Timely. But He Who Remains, definitely the most terrifying. But also, this Kang that's in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, he was pretty scary too. So he was angry a lot. I wouldn't want to get into a fight with this guy because he handed Scott Lang his ass, beat the shit out of him. So you're good, man. I don't want beef. 24, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This movie has been growing on me, actually, because of the whole, like, I like how Chris Pratt put it. Chris Pratt said, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is about the Guardians finding each other and finding family within each other. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is about being a family, and how it would be to be in a family, like, the realism of being in a family, because they argue a lot, and they don't get along. In fact, they even break up for a little bit, not like team-wise. It's just, you stay here and we'll go here. The team, like, breaks apart. While the Chain is playing by Fleetwood Mac, so, yeah. Break the chain. You get the symbolism? So, yeah. Yeah, it's just, I love the struggles. I love the story that they go on. I guess my only criticism would be, I guess it takes too long for them to reveal that Ego is actually a bad guy. I guess to people like me that knew beforehand Ego was the bad guy, that would be a pros and cons. You already know, you're like, this is a bad guy, and he's trying to get Peter to trust him, and you're like, I don't trust you, man. I know who you are. Or it could be like, or that could be aggravating because you know who he is, and you're just waiting for him to reveal himself. It's like, okay, this is taking forever. I know who you are, dude. But to some people, I guess, they'd be tricked. I guess, I don't know. There is one scene though that I don't like what James Gunn does, is where it gets revealed that Ego put a tumor in Peter's mom's brain, and so he gets angry, he shoots Ego, and then he turns into David Hasselhoff as a cameo. And it's like, oh, ha ha, David Hasselhoff, that's a cool cameo, ha ha ha. Even though I just revealed, you just told me that you killed my mom, you put a tumor in her head, and now she's dead. My own father did that. So, and then now we're gonna undercut it with humor, and we're gonna throw in David Hasselhoff as a cameo. Yeah, that scene doesn't really sit too right with me. I'm like, you're supposed to make that hit, and it's not really hitting. And James Gunn is supposedly the guy that makes, things hit. And, it hits you hard. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is so high up. I'm not going to tell you where. I almost did. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think it's okay. I think it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good, good character development movie for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Them, like, being realistically fighting, but that's what brings them together in the end, really. 23, Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a really enjoyable movie. I actually really enjoy Ant-Man. It's not one that I'd probably pop in if I was to be like, let's watch a Marvel movie. Like, Ant-Man's not going to be one. Eternals is not going to be one. Iron Man 2 is not going to be one. Thor, The Incredible Hulk. Those are not going to be ones that I pop in. Ant-Man, not going to be one that I pop in either. I'm not going to lie. But it's still a good movie. And I like the tie-in, for Civil War. And I don't know, I just like the smaller scale. It's like just a fun movie. It's just a fun heist movie. And why not? Because why not? And it's cool. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man that's perfect casting. He's a pretty good Ant-Man. So yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I really enjoy Ant-Man. There's not much to say about it. 22, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I actually really like Ant-Man and the Wasp a lot more than Ant-Man. It just seems like it's probably because there's a lot more going on. And, it's more funnier. I don't know. I just like the on the run feel from Ant-Man and the Wasp, because after what Ant-Man did in Civil War, that's what caused Hank and Hope to go on the run from the FBI, and Scott was on house arrest. So, but the end credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp, he was off of house arrest, and they were happening at the same time in Infinity War. So you weren't on house arrest. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the Avengers just didn't know that. Maybe as far as they knew, he was on house arrest. But yeah, I just like the whole on the run feel. It just makes it seem much more like spy-ish, I guess. It's pretty cool. I like Ant-Man and the Wasp. 21, Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home, I think, is a pretty sinister movie now that No Way Home is out, because Far From Home sets up No Way Home a lot, and now once you rewatch Far From Home, having seen No Way Home, you see all the little seeds that Quentin Beck is planting. Yeah, it is a little disappointing not to see Spider-Man in New York doing Spider-Man stuff, but it's also pretty cool to see Spider-Man going out around the world. It's cool to see, like, Spider-Man outside of his nature. I don't know, there's just something cool about that. And what I like about Spider-Man Far From Home, it's literally a vacation movie. It's like a vacation movie in the MCU. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's just like, that's kind of wholesome, if you ask me. It's just like, we just had this whole Infinity Saga, and we just had Endgame, and we're like emotionally destroyed. Let's go on a fun vacation movie with Spider-Man. Sure, awesome. And then the ending is shocking. So, yeah, that's I kind of got that spoiled for me. That kind of had to get me interested to watch Far From Home, because at first I was going to be done with the MCU after Endgame. I actually did not watch Spider-Man Far From Home in theaters because I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm done with the MCU. Endgame, it feels like a pretty good ending. But then I saw that end credit scene, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch it. And that's what got me back into the MCU. So, Spider-Man Far From Home got me back into the MCU, if that says anything. It's a pretty good movie. I was not expecting it to be good. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be bad. It's just, I didn't want to watch it, and I just didn't have any expectations for it. And then I watched it, and I liked it. So, it's what got me back into the MCU. I was bought back. I was like, alright, fine, you got me. Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron is a pretty good movie, I think, except for the middle part. It just seems like they have a lot going on in the middle part of Avengers Age of Ultron. And that's because of a lot of things. That's because of Joss Whedon wanting to keep the same runtime in this movie as he did with the Avengers. He wanted to keep it at a 2-hour and 20-minute runtime. But Avengers Age of Ultron is a very important movie because it's setting up a lot. Some people don't like that. They say some Marvel movies are just commercials for other Marvel movies that are going to be coming out soon. And that is true most of the time. But, I mean, you got to get the story moving one way or another. I mean, you got to get some things set up. And besides, I remember around the time when I first watched Avengers Age of Ultron and had it on Blu-ray and watched it 24/7, the vision part where all the Avengers get their vision, those were actually my favorite parts. I don't know, it was cool to me. Plus the cameos that it showed, like with Heimdall and Peggy and what's her name, Madam Mystique, Madam Hydra, I think her name's Madam Hydra. Why wasn't she in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Was she in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't know, I just got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. See, it's right there. I just got it, so I'm binge watching the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pretty good TV show. Season 1 is pretty nostalgic. But Age of Ultron, pretty cool. There's a lot of action. I really like it. I think it's a pretty good movie. It's my least favorite Avengers movie, to be honest. But that doesn't mean it isn't likable, because it is. It's very likable and full of action. And I like it. Ultron's pretty disappointing, though. I mean, what they were promising us in the trailer. Remember Ultron, where he was like, "There are no strings on me." Yeah, that's not the villain we got in Age of Ultron. He was more of like a full-on robot version of Tony Stark. That's basically what Ultron was. That wanted to destroy the world. And his plan was pretty stupid, too. Get a big rock and throw it at the Earth. Yeah, extinction. Okay. Good for you, Ultron. Going back to the Stone Age. Maybe that wouldn't be so bad. No, I'm kidding. 19, Iron Man 3. I really like Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is a pretty good movie. It's not better than Iron Man 1. But the last time that I watched it, I got like a new lens on it. And for the anxiety parts of the movie, I actually found pretty relatable. It resonated with me, especially on the part where he's talking to Harley on the phone, and Harley has his Iron Man suit, and he's asking where the suit is at. Is it charging? And he's like, it's not charging, and he has like a whole anxiety attack. That's really relatable, and especially the time that it hit me pretty hard was, I think, the second to last time that I watched it, not the last time around. The second to last time that I watched Iron Man 3 and I watched that scene, it hit me hard because I was going through a lot of anxiety at the time and I was scared of the world. And I don't know, it just hit me. That anxiety scene really hit me. And then Harley was like the calming voice telling him, "You're Tony Stark, genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. You don't need a suit. You can make a suit. You can make anything. You're an inventor. You can make anything out of the simplest things. You're Tony Stark." What I think would have hit harder is, I think Iron Man 3 should have been the true demon in the bottle story. Because if they did the true demon in the bottle story, especially since Tony is dealing with PTSD after the whole Battle of New York and the Avengers, it would have hit a lot harder. And I think it probably would have resonated a lot more. It probably would have bumped it higher up on the list, for sure. Because that would have been, I don't know, much more. It would have made more sense. Because most people don't even like how it doesn't make sense that Tony doxes himself when he says, "My address is 10880 Malibu Point, 90265. And it's like, damn, bro, you just doxed yourself. Like, it would make more sense if him seeing Happy in the hospital triggered his PTSD into a light, and then it made him drink. I'm never going to do that again. What the fuck? It made him drink a lot, and whenever he doxed himself on the news, that was the result of him in a drunken rage. And he was like, "Ah!" And then he's, come fight me, while he's drunk or something, like challenging the Mandarin while he's drunk and doxing himself. That would have made more sense why they came and they blew up his place and he put Pepper in danger, and then Maya came and took her. Now he has to go and find her. He has to pull himself out of the bottle. He has to find himself again. He has to... The dilemma of the movie is him pulling himself out of the bottle, and the question, does the man make the suit or does the suit make the man? He needs to find Tony Stark. Tony Stark is Iron Man. The man makes the suit. The suit doesn't make the man. So that's what he needs to learn. And I feel like that would have hit a lot harder. That would have been my pitch for Iron Man 3. Lean into the alcoholism, not to glorify it, but to show the destructive nature of what it does and what can happen if you pull yourself out of it. That would have been a whole lot better. 18, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a pretty good movie. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty underrated. It gets pretty cheesy near the end. That's why it's at 18. I don't really like all the cheesy stuff. Now, some people say that this is Scarlet Witch's movie more than Doctor Strange's movie. And maybe in some parts, yeah. But I think for the most part, I think it balances it pretty cool. I will say, though, I mean, it's called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There isn't much of Multiverse of Madness going on. They don't go to many universes, and it's not like a big giant multiverse movie. But I think that's only because people put their expectations way too high, which caused me to take my expectations way too high. But there were some rumors there. I was like, that's not going to happen. Some people were saying that Tobey Maguire was going to be in this movie, and I guess that would kind of make sense since Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was directed by Sam Raimi. But we just got Tobey Maguire in No Way Home. I don't think they're going to do that again. And I just don't see him being in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So, but the cameos were pretty cool. It had Professor X, John Krasinski. That was the one that blew me away. And Professor X. But we already knew that was going to happen because of the trailers, the Super Bowl trailer. We could hear Patrick Stewart's voice, and he was like, "We should tell him the truth." So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. 17, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I think Black Panther Wakanda Forever is a pretty good movie, and I think it's surprising that it's a pretty good movie because it's not a movie that I would have been okay with making. If it was up to me, I would have just recasted Black Panther. Or not, no, I wouldn't recast Black Panther. I would cancel Black Panther movies. And I know that sounds harsh, but what Chadwick Boseman did with Black Panther is just so iconic, and he left his mark on this world with Black Panther, especially with black communities that look up to Black Panther as their hero. And I don't know, it's just, I would want to preserve his memory and his legacy. And like, it's like with Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan had the right idea by not doing anything with Joker, or not even mentioning the Joker. I mean, I would have liked maybe a nugget, but but um, I liked what Christopher Nolan did with not touching the Joker at all, because that makes The Dark Knight that much more special. That this is the only performance we got of Heath Ledger's Joker. Black Panther, that is the only performance we got, well, other than Civil War and the Avengers movies and What If, but for a solo Black Panther movie, this is the only Chadwick Boseman Black Panther movie that we have, and that is what makes it special, because he was here to do this movie, and they're gonna apparently be doing a Black Panther 3, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, stop making Black Panther movies, because I'm okay with Wakanda Forever, even though I'm not, but I am. Most people don't like that Riri Williams is in it, and I think she was okay in this, and I think her show was pretty good too. I watched the show. That's my really brief review. I think Ironheart was alright. Episode 6 was epic because Mephisto was in there and he was creepy. But, yeah. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I think it hits pretty hard. I don't think they should have killed off Queen Ramonda, but yeah, it's a movie that really makes you feel the presence of Chadwick Boseman without him even being in there, because you're like, where's Chadwick Boseman? Oh yeah, that's right. And I feel like the movie would have been so awesome if Chadwick Boseman got to be a part of it. And it would have been so awesome to see Black Panther go up against Namor. That would have been awesome. So yeah. 16, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I think Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a pretty good movie. The whole martial arts thing that they had going on, that was epic. Like, yo, if you do martial arts right and it gets you excited, because you know there's like some movies where there's fight scenes, but it's like fight scenes that you've seen before, and they're not really engaging, so you're just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. But with the martial arts, like it's like in Shang-Chi, you're like, oh. You're like, oh shit. So it's like, it's exciting, and it was fast paced. The bus scene was pretty cool. It's definitely a unique movie in the MCU. Kind of drags a little bit in the middle. Kind of loses its focus near the end a little bit with the whole dragon thing. I guess it's pretty cool. I mean, it's dragons, but still, it's like, this is what we were leading to? Okay. Alright. But at least they had a good final battle between Shang-Chi and Wenwu, because that fight was really good. And the visual effects are... that's one thing I forgot to mention about Eternals. The effects in Eternals are really good. Like, I remember the first time I watched Eternals in IMAX, and I was like, holy shit. So, yeah. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's a pretty good movie. I really like it. Has a lot of connectivity, too. I don't know if that mid-credit scene is going to be important, because remember Shang-Chi's rings, they were being signaled. It was like a beacon. And also Miss Marvel's bangles was also kind of like a beacon, too. What you seek is seeking you. So is Shang-Chi's rings and Miss Marvel's bangles still going to be important? Because I'm pretty sure that stuff was leading to Kang. So I don't know if that's going to be important anymore. I don't know. 15, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a really good movie. I really love Doctor Strange. And I've been reciting the Marvel movies, like basically the Infinity Saga over here. And I got past Doctor Strange, and I was enjoying reciting that movie. And I love watching the movie. I love seeing Doctor Strange grow. The visual effects is awesome. Kai Stelios was okay. He wasn't really that good of a villain. I love the Ancient One so much. Yes, she's kind of a hypocrite, but she's like Doctor Strange in a way. Because Doctor Strange, it's like what the Ancient One said. But as you may well know, one must break the rules in order to serve the greater good. And Doctor Strange does that a lot. And I think that's going to play a big part into Doomsday and Doctor Strange 3 and Avengers Secret Wars. I think Doctor Strange knows that the only way to win is for Doctor Doom to destroy the multiverse. In order for them to win and create something new out of this universe and save it, Doctor Doom has to destroy it. And he's probably going to contribute to that too, and that's probably why they're adapting the Jonathan Hickman run of Avengers Secret Wars, because in Secret Wars and Jonathan Hickman's run, Doctor Doom's right-hand man was Doctor Strange, except he wasn't Doctor Strange, he was Sheriff Strange. So I would be really curious if we got to see Sheriff Strange in the MCU in Secret Wars. That would be pretty cool. And that would be pretty comic accurate, and it would make sense, because if Doctor Strange knew that the multiverse needs to break... Okay, I'm going into whole theories. I'm sorry. Doctor Strange, really good movie. Really, really good movie. It's really good. I really love it. 14, Spider-Man Homecoming. What I like the most about Spider-Man Homecoming is the fact that it's kind of like a Spider-Man and Iron Man movie. I know some people don't like that, but I think it's pretty cool. Like, I never thought we would get a Spider-Man and an Iron Man movie. To me, that's pretty cool. And I just love that in this movie does something that Daredevil Born Again did a lot more, which I appreciate more. It's a nice touch. Spider-Man Homecoming takes it down to like the high school eyes of the MCU and how like everyday normal pedestrian people would be living in the MCU. Daredevil Born Again definitely expanded on that, which I appreciated. But I like Spider-Man Homecoming for doing that. I like the character arc that Peter goes on in this story. Most people say that they don't like that Spider-Man in the MCU is Iron Man Jr., and that he kind of is Iron Man Jr. But I like how kind of John Watts, he said that he made this movie out of people's anxiety, or he made this movie out of his own anxiety. So maybe he was anxiety-fied. He was like, well, maybe people are going to think that he's Iron Man Jr. Well, how do I make that not the case, that he's not Iron Man Jr.? Well, you take away his Tony Stark Iron Man made Spider-Man suit, and you put him into his Homecoming suit, the one that was mentioned in Civil War, which actually grew on me. That suit's actually pretty cool. Both suits are pretty cool, actually. I like all the Spider-Man suits in the MCU, actually. Well, the Iron Spider suit, I like it when it looks good. When the CGI is a little wonky, I'm like, could have done without that. But no, all the suits are pretty cool. But yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming, I think it's a pretty good movie. I think if I had to rank the MCU Spider-Man movies, it would have to go No Way Home, Homecoming, Far From Home. Homecoming is pretty solid. Thor Ragnarok. Some people say that they don't like Thor Ragnarok now because of what Taika Waititi did with Thor Love and Thunder. That's not the case with me. I'm not gonna just switch up an opinion over a movie that came later, because Thor Ragnarok is a pretty good movie. It's funny, it's awesome, has a good soundtrack, has a good story, and I like the stuff that's on Sakaar. Now, around this time in Thor Ragnarok, I actually really did like the humor, and I thought it was pretty funny. I like the whole, this is the closest thing we're ever gonna come to having like a Planet Hulk type movie, or World War Hulk, but more Planet Hulk. That's the closest we're ever gonna get to a Planet Hulk. It's not exactly the Hulk that I want in that movie, but it's the closest we're gonna get. Yeah, I just think Thor Ragnarok is pretty cool. Doctor Strange is in it too. That's why I said Doctor Strange. I like the transformation that Thor goes on in that movie and the journey that he goes on. But at the beginning of Thor Ragnarok, he's Age of Ultron Thor, basically. And then by the end, he is Infinity War Thor. So I like how they bridge that. That's another thing that I really like about Ant-Man and the Wasp. It bridges the gaps between Civil War, Ant-Man and the Wasp. It acknowledges Infinity War, but plants seeds for Endgame. Ant-Man and the Wasp actually does a lot. Kind of like Age of Ultron, and kind of like Thor Ragnarok. It does a lot for Thor's character, which is a whole kind of a character change. And the way I kind of look at it, like, it is kind of noticeable now. Some people were like, oh, so this is like a reboot. And it's like, well, no, it's not. But then they killed his friends off, and they destroyed his hammer, and the tone's different. And even the bridge looks different in Asgard. So it's like, well, maybe it is kind of a little bit of a reboot. But it's not. I think it's more of a character revamp and a series revamp. I think that's what that is. 12, Guardians of the Galaxy. I like that these two movies are right next to each other because Guardians of the Galaxy took me by surprise. I'll be the first to say it. Yes, me just like everyone else. The first time that I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, the trailer, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I wasn't very interested. And I was like, wow, this is going to be stupid. But I watched it, and that is all I could watch for the Christmas break. That is all I could watch, Guardians of the Galaxy, and I fell in love with it, and it's awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy is definitely a comfort movie for me. It's, I don't know, it's just awesome. And then recently when I was reciting the movie, what I was doing was I was reciting the movie and listening to the album at the same time where the songs appeared in the movie, and it was pretty cool. It was a good time. So yeah, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's such a comfort movie for me. Always brings me back, makes me feel better. It's a good movie. It's a really, really good movie. I really miss Adult Groot. Hey, drop a comment down below if you miss Adult Groot. I am Groot. No, we are Groot. Yeah, hell yeah. Brought it all the way back there. 11, Iron Man. I really wanted Iron Man to be in the top 10. That's why it's right under the top 10. But Iron Man is a pretty goated movie, and it's so good, and it's so simple, but that's what makes it so good, is because it's so simple. If you took away all the superhero Iron Man stuff of the movie, this could literally just be a regular movie. I mean, it's about arms dealers, stuff like that, and war, and how weapons can be destructive. And it's a good starting point for the MCU, and it's a good way to introduce Tony Stark, and it's a good way to make him likable, but also show that he's not all the way there yet. He's not all the way. He's a hero because he's starting to become a hero, but he's not the full-fledged hero yet. And I like that they don't give him they don't make him into like a terrible person all the way to like a good guy. He's a kind of a terrible person at first. He's kind of a womanizer, a playboy, kind of a dick. So, but not like how Doctor Strange was a dick. I would gladly take pre-Iron Man Tony Stark over pre-Doctor Strange Stephen Strange. Yeah, I'll gladly take Tony Stark because at least he's fun and is likable. But yeah, Iron Man. Love the movie. Love it, love it, love it so much. Has a special place in my heart. Didn't get to see it in theaters, but I mean, I fell in love with Spider-Man first, and then maybe Hulk. No, I think it went Spider-Man and then Iron Man. That's how it went. It went Spider-Man and then Iron Man. Watched Iron Man and I loved it. Got really obsessed with it. 10. We're in the top 10 MCU movies now. Black Panther. Just got done reciting Black Panther, and oh my god, it is such a good movie. And every time that I watch Black Panther or recite Black Panther, it brings me back to the hype of 2018. And Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan do such a damn good job in that movie. And so does Andy Serkis, and so does Martin Freeman, and so does everybody. Everybody in this movie did such a good job. Some people say this movie's overrated, and I don't think so at all. I'm maybe a couple times I did where I wasn't really feeling it, but now so many years have passed, and the fact that this is the only solo Chadwick Boseman Black Panther movie that we got, it makes you appreciate it that much more. And the plot with the whole family thing, and the whole royal deals and what Killmonger does, and his motivations and how he is as a villain, you see where he's coming from and you empathize with him, but his methods and the way he's going about what he wants to do to change the world is wrong. He doesn't want to change the world. He wants to make the world the way he wants to, and he wants to spread his anger on the whole world, because like he said at the end, the whole world took everything away from me, everything I ever loved. So he doesn't even really want to rule the world. He wants to punish the world, really. So, I don't know. Good villain, though. Very good movie. It deserves its Oscars. It deserves the world, really. 9. The Avengers. The Avengers is such a good movie, and it's such a blast. It's so fun seeing all these characters come together. I'll never forget seeing this movie in theaters. I would say I liked Marvel before I watched The Avengers, but when I watched The Avengers, that is what solidified me as a hardcore MCU fan. And that's what has solidified me as a die-hard, hardcore MCU fan. And I wanted to see what would happen after that. I was in for the ride. The Avengers sold me. I'm like, yep, I'm here. I'm here for this universe. I'm here for whatever comes out next. The Avengers, such a good movie. It's a movie that shouldn't have worked, but it did. And even I was wondering how this was going to work. I was like, wait a minute, so whose movie is this? Is this Iron Man's movie, Captain America's movie, Thor's movie, Hulk's movie, Black Widow's movie? Whose movie is this? And it's everyone's movie. And I'm like, well, how are they going to do that? How are you going to, give Iron Man enough screen time? Give Captain America enough screen time? How the hell are they going to share the screen? Josh Whedon made it work, and he did it over a weekend, which is pretty damn impressive. He made a record-breaking movie in a weekend. Damn. So shit. The Avengers, pretty good movie. What's better than The Avengers? Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Man, the Russo brothers came into the MCU swinging. And the last time that I recited this movie, I was having such a good time. And I love the vibes of the movie. I love the journey it goes on. There's some people that would say, oh, you think it's just a good movie because it has a little plot twist there, a little twist and turn here. Oh, yeah, like we haven't seen that before. Yeah, true. It hasn't been... It's nothing new, but it's new to the MCU, kind of. Like this whole spy espionage thriller, and kind of... it set a whole new tone for the MCU, really. So, and it kind of flipped everything on its head with the whole Shield Hydra thing. I did not see that coming. So that was pretty mind blowing to me the very first time that I watched the movie. The Bucky Barnes thing wasn't so mind blowing because I kind of already knew about it before. You know, Bucky Barnes being the Winter Soldier. I kind of forgot about it briefly because when Bucky turned around and it showed his face, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So, yeah. But it's still a really good movie. Winter Soldier, it was in my top 5 before Deadpool and Wolverine beat it. That kind of just spoiled what's in the top 5. Well, we'll get to it. To me, Captain America Civil War is a better movie than The Winter Soldier. And I really fought with that. I'm like, which one's better, Civil War or The Winter Soldier? And I don't know. Just the fact that Captain America Civil War is basically an Avengers movie and a good, very, very good character-driven Avengers movie, it's really good. I mean, if there's one thing that I would say about Captain America Civil War, it kind of feels like Captain America kind of got jacked out of a 3 solo Captain America movie, because let's be real here. Captain America Civil War is not just a Captain America movie. It's basically Avengers 2.5. Even the Russo brothers themselves have said they made Captain America Civil War so that they can break up the Avengers so that it's easier for Thanos, so that they're all vulnerable, so that it was setting up the splitting of the Avengers for Thanos to come in and take advantage of that. So it's Avengers 2.5 basically, and it's so good. Like, man, they were cooking with this movie, and it was so good. It was so good. And oh man, what I was wanting to see finally was not only Spider-Man in the MCU, which was pretty fucking like. I remember when my friend told me, "Dude, you got to see the new Captain America trailer. They put Spider-Man," in. I'm like, "No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't." And then I went to the library and I went and saw it, and I'm like, "Holy shit, Spider-Man's gonna be in the MCU! Holy fuck!" Like, I was losing my mind. So that was pretty cool. Civil War. But another thing that I was really looking forward to was Iron Man versus Captain America. I finally wanted to see them duke it out. And duke it out they did for a good, like, 10 minutes, I think. I mean, they fought for a good minute, and they were hitting hard. It was hard hits, too. You're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And the way they set it up, it's not even really a civil war anymore. It's like a personal civil war. Because it's so sad. Because Iron Man and Captain America and Bucky were all teamed up at one point, and then Zemo came in and made it personal. And you can't lie. You would probably do the same thing if you were in Iron Man's shoes. If you just saw a video of Bucky Barnes, the killer of your parents, right there, freaking killing your parents on camera, you're telling me you wouldn't get angry? Anyone would get angry. It makes sense, and I understand. So that fight was a really emotionally charged fight, and I loved it. Number 6. Thunderbolts. I fucking love Thunderbolts, and I want Thunderbolts to be in the top 5. The only thing that keeps it from being in the top 5 is the fact that there's not enough runtime, and I feel like some things they didn't flesh out a lot, or flesh out. They didn't flesh out some of the things that they could have fleshed out to make it hit harder. And I'm not saying that Thunderbolts doesn't hit hard, because it hits hard, and I just feel like Thunderbolts screams my name, and it understands me, and it gets me. This movie gets me. This movie understands how I feel. The part where Yelena is in the street with Red Guardian and she's just venting to Red Guardian. Oh my god. That, even if I'm watching a reaction video of my favorite reactors reacting to that scene, even if I'm watching that, it still gets me. I still break down in tears because what she says right there speaks to my soul. I feel like I could be a member of the Thunderbolts. I just love the Thunderbolts. I just love it. I love it. What I love about the Thunderbolts is it just feels like it's a real movie that makes you feel, and it has a voice, and it is understood, and it's really a voice of this generation, really, and it just speaks to me, and I just feel like this is one of those feel good movies that you would watch at a sleepover. That's how much I love Thunderbolts. Top 5. Now, number 5, Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is a blast of a movie, and a movie that I never thought we would get in the MCU. Deadpool and Wolverine is so much fun, and it's such a blast. It's so much fun, and it's funny as hell. Good character development for both Wade Wilson and Wolverine, and Logan. Yeah. It's a really good character development for both of them. I like the journey that they go on. The cameos are a lot of fun. Fucking Blade in the MCU. Some motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill. Like, what? We got Blade in the MCU? Are you fucking... What? So, yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine is a pretty fun movie, and it's a blast. It is so much fun. And at the end, it even gets emotional. So, it takes you on this fun ride, and then you get to the end, and that's when it starts getting emotional. And that's what is kind of a sign of a good movie, where you're having fun at a movie, and near the end, you start feeling the feels, and then it gets back into the laughter, and you're like, man, that movie made me feel good. That's what Deadpool and Wolverine is. It's a good, fun, raunchy, R-rated, funny comedy superhero movie in the MCU, and it's awesome. Number 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home is a fucking epic movie, and it's a movie that I didn't even dream of or ask for, because never in a million years did I think we would get Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey fucking Maguire Spider-Man in the MCU and have them all together in one movie. When I first heard, when I was like hearing the rumors that they all three was going to be in a movie together, I was like, no way, that is not going to happen. And it happened, and they pulled it off. I never thought I'd see my hero Tobey Maguire ever again. Like, oh my god. The movie is just, maybe the plot points of how everyone got there and the logic of how everyone gets there maybe doesn't work so well. And that's probably because of COVID. But because originally American Chavez from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was going to be the one to bring everyone together. That would have made a lot more sense than Ned suddenly being magic. But it's forgiven because the fan service, yes, is it fan service? Yes, it is. But it's fan service done right and epically and gloriously. It's just epic. And it's probably the most emotional Spider-Man movie we got thus far. It is a good movie. It's a legendary movie, and to this day, I still can't believe it's MCU canon. To this day, I still can't believe that it happened. To this day, I still can't believe that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man came back. Yeah, I should be giving more praise to Andrew Garfield. He did a really good job in this movie. I think he proved to people that he can be a good Spider-Man. But Tobey Maguire is my guy, and I cannot believe he came back. And I can't wait to see him in Secret Wars again. I can't wait to see him back and interact with everyone else. Very good movie. Number 3, Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War is such an epic movie. It's so ambitious. It's a big, giant movie with an unexpected ending. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they just did that. I remember the theater being in shock and just being quiet. Me just being devastated. They really did that. And what really threw me a curveball was the fact that they did that. What the fuck are they going to do with Endgame? Usually I'm the MCU guy that can predict what's going to happen in the MCU next. Not with Infinity War. I mean, what came after Infinity War? Infinity War was pretty easy to predict. Not Endgame. But I really appreciated Infinity War's ending because it made Endgame so unpredictable. And it was the big movie, the big 10-year culmination movie. There was so much hype around it. Like, I felt like at the time, this was the most hyped movie ever in existence. What movie is more hyped than Infinity War? Like, this movie is everything. This movie is gonna explode. And it did. And it's a good movie. It's hype. It's awesome. It is just awesome. Thanos is a fucking, oh my god, best MCU villain by far. By far. Other than Loki. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is up so high because of how, fucking hard that movie hits me. That movie hits me so hard. And it makes me cry, but it's so beautiful, and it's a masterpiece, and it's about coming to terms with your past, realizing how it affects your present, but coming to terms with that and setting sail for the future. By also, it's a movie about found family and how much they love each other, and it's also about moving on, really, and that's bittersweet because, man, no Guardians died, and we thought for sure there's going to be some Guardians that were going to die. No Guardians died, but it still hit hard when they left each other. It's like, no! I think what hits hardest is Star-Lord going home. And it's like, oh, he's leaving all of his friends. It's like, bye, guys. It's like leaving the party. It's like finally realizing that you need to leave the party. Kind of like Van Wilder. But no, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is such a masterpiece. I love it so much. I think it's the best movie in Phase 5. Such a good movie. It hits so hard. Number one, if you didn't see this coming, do you even watch Marvel? Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame is number one. What a coincidence. We got to Avengers Endgame just as I got to an hour. How long is it going to take for this video to upload? Am I even going to get this video uploaded? I don't even know. Avengers Endgame. What? Even after 5 or 6 years, Avengers Endgame is just a speechless movie. It's like, damn. Damn. Like, damn. Avengers Endgame is the number one movie. That's what else can you say about Avengers Endgame? It's number one because it is number one. That is the reason why Avengers Endgame is number one. It paid off all these storylines so well, so emotionally, so epically, and it was much more than just nostalgia's sake, because I mean it was kind of nostalgia, but it's like, hey, look at all these other movies that we did, but it's important because these are the movies that had the Infinity Stones, and this is where we need to go back to get those Infinity Stones. So it's like, it's important, we need to go do this to go get these stones, but it's also, let's celebrate, all the movies that have led up to what you're watching now, and let's have fun, let's reminisce, let's have some fun. And then, like, man, it's just, oh my god, it's such a good movie. I don't like what they did with Smart Hulk. I didn't like what they did with Fat Hulk or Fat Thor at first, but I've come to appreciate it now because Thor's lost a lot and he's been through a lot, so it kind of makes sense that he would do that. I kind of wanted him to, like, get his lightning powers and then get back into buff Thor for the Endgame ending, but I'm not gonna lie, sometimes what fans want is kind of unrealistic, because Chris Hemsworth said it was his idea to not have him go back to muscular Thor, because he said that's not realistic. Thor still has a lot to work on other than just his optimism and his depression. He has a lot more that he has to work on himself. So maybe that's what Thor Love and Thunder should have been about, recuperating and gaining that confidence back, becoming Thor the God of Thunder. Like, this is who I am again. That's probably what it should have been about. But no, I'm like, man, Iron Man's death hits me so hard every single time. Even after all these years, I still cry so hard. I will just never forget seeing Avengers Endgame in theater for the very first time on opening day. The whole town probably came out to go see that movie. The line, we showed up early and the line was all the way out to the parking lot. And by the time that we got in there, it was sold out. So, yeah. Man, Avengers Endgame is number one, and let's see if Doomsday and Secret Wars can top that. It probably will. Secret Wars probably will, because it's going to be a much bigger movie than Endgame, which I didn't even think is possible. And I'm like, Russo brothers, how the hell are you going to do this? So, yeah, Avengers Endgame, I love it with all my heart. It's number one. It's number one. So there you go, everyone. I have spent 1 hour and 3 minutes ranking all 36 movies in the MCU. I hope this can get uploaded to YouTube. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, put a smile on your face. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. I promise you can. You just gotta believe in yourself and you can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. Alright. Love y'all.